Yeah, I don't know what the go is here. Looks like someone's chucked these off. I'm going to take these out to the station because I'll probably find a use for them somewhere. They must be left over from someone's job, but they're all good sheets. I don't know why you chuck them. I'm actually getting a little trailer built, so like a flat top. I wish I had it now because it'd make this a lot easier, but still a few weeks away, I think. Beautiful. I know exactly what I'm going to use these for. Oh, look at that, got ourselves some sheets, perfect. So what I'm going to probably do, at the homestead there's 2 shipping containers side by side, but there's a gap in the middle, probably like a shipping container width roughly, and it's just grass and dirt and shit in there. So thinking about putting a floor in and then like a bit of a roof. You're using these sheets and some other sheets. I don't think this will be enough. And pretty much having a workshop in the middle as well. Run for it, little fella. Cattle coming in for their little morning drink. Hello, mamas. You're running in to get your morning drinks, eh? They're all looking bloody good. Look at these mob over here. Black ones down the back. Little Mickey. Cut his nuts out too. So we've had some big rains and bloody, obviously it gets soft in here, and this trough has sunk a bit this end. So it's pretty, you can see it's overflowing in that corner, but like only just. Now. Walk through this shit. Yeah, look, there.
Nope.
Drink it. Need some Mission Impossible music over this. Don't be freaking silly, alright? So, as you can see, just on top of that tank there, we've got a little solar thing. So that there is Farmbot. Basically, that little cylinder thing is a rain gauge, and this little setup also tells us the level of the tank. That orange ball is just a visual thing for when you're at the bore. You can clearly see if the tank's full or not. But the Farmbot gives us a reading on the app, so you could be in Alice Springs or at the homestead or whatever, as long as you've got internet, and it'll tell you how much rain you've had and also the level of the tank, 70%, 30%. We don't have them on all the bores, but they're very handy. ran a couple of camels, took this out the other day, and bloody took the wires with them out in the flat, so ran a couple of freshies and didn't really have any pickets, so we'll smack a few in today. Tell you what, it's nice when the sand's soft like that, a bit different in the rocks. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to just any spots that I repair is whack pickets in, but leave them a bit higher than we usually would, because I just want to see if when the camels come through, they kind of, I feel like if they're higher, the logic is that they'll just sort of fold the fence over and walk through it. If you're trying to make the fence all strong and everything like that, and you drive the pickets in deep, they just make more of a mess. There's more carnage. So yeah, I feel like if they're a bit higher, like it's still strong, and this isn't really a pressure fence for cattle because it's the western boundary. Cattle don't even really come out here. Sometimes they might in the wet when it's raining. They tend to go for a bit of a walk, but it's not like there's pressure on it, so I think it'd be fine. Look at these poor old fencing flies sitting in the back in the rain. Chuck a bit of juice into them. This what is it? Inox. I usually use this for everything. It's I think MX4, so it's like lanolin based. It's good stuff, eh? Go down there too. In a lot of these spots we just got, like there was I think 3 wires here, but I haven't bothered putting 3. I've just put 2 back here because, as I said, cattle don't venture out here much, and if they do go for a walk and they hit it, they sort of just walk the fence. It doesn't need to be, you know, it doesn't need to be 4 barb or anything. And it's just, I feel like just trying new things on this fence. It's just easier to manage, less labor intensive and less time consuming if it's just 4 barb that you have to, 2 barb that you have to fix instead of 3 or 4. And because the amount there, you know, camels venture through this country and they just walk through this fence, it's not like it's a rare occurrence. It's pretty regular, so it gets to be a big pain in the arse. I thought I'd hit record along this stretch and keep it going for a while just to give you guys an idea on some of the distances out here and just how long this stretch of fence is. This particular stretch is probably 30-ish K, and when the camels run amok, it's a never-ending process. Well, we're just about to bloody run into some
wet weather.
Some rain. We can sort of see it building from where we were driving, and then we can see the line of it, and then here we go. So I think we were sort of forecast for up to 4 mil out here today, and then the next 2 days might be up to 60 mil. So plenty of rain getting around, and I know Queensland's absolutely copping it, so it's pretty extraordinary. Oh, we're starting to run into a little bit more wetness. So seems to be all sorts of little showers sort of everywhere around the place. Everywhere we look, there's we were up on the hill at the homestead there, and we could just see out every direction. Got a few drums down here. Obviously they've kicked the pipe out at the end there and emptied the trough. I was here a day or two ago. I shut it off at the tank and then I was just going to let this dry out for a little bit. A lot of the cattle weren't actually here because we've had rain, so they were away drinking, but they've come back now. Look at her ear tag. What the fuck is that? That was actually pretty stuck in the mud. Normally it gives idle out in low 4, but it was obviously sucked in there a bit, so I had to give it a little bit to get it out of there. I don't know how this ended up over here, but it's meant to be under this end of the trough. So, see if we can lift it up and stick that back underneath. It's meant to be under there. So I've had a lot of people ask, like sometimes ask, or not ask, but sometimes say in comments, oh, you're a dickhead, why have you got troughs like that? Like, how come your pipes are exposed? Cattle are gonna knock them out and, you know, grow a brain and fucking do it this way or whatever. Well, at the end of the day, I haven't really spoken much on this, but this is like an Aboriginal grazing lease, and my old man's been here for about 10 years running cattle. Well, before my old man got here, no one had been here for 5 years. So there was people here running cattle, and then they left, and then no one was here for 5 years. So think about that, 5 years of like zero maintenance. There was, all the roads were overgrown, fences were gone, no bores were operational, all that sort of stuff. So the old man has spent a lot of, you know, money and blood, sweat and tears, hard labor, putting in roads, fences, tanks, troughs. We've got 4 new sets of cattle yards that we put in. They're only portable panel yards, but, you know, yards nonetheless. I wasn't here when the old man first came on the scene. I was doing my own thing, so he's done a lot of that work, and that's why you see what you see now. There was bloody nothing here. So for those of you asking those questions, you know, we couldn't just spend all the money on putting a big flash Harry concrete trough with a concrete apron with, you know, all the gear. So Dad kind of started literally from nothing here and was trying to build the place up how he could. So I'm, you know, 10 years on, we're trying to make, you know, more improvements, and it takes a long time, year after year, of putting in pipelines, kilometers of pipelines, and making the investments to put new tanks in and drill new bores. And all it takes is you drill one bore and you don't strike water. It's tens of thousands of dollars to do that, and then, oh well, bad luck, no water here, move on to the next one. Obviously you've got to figure out what investments and infrastructure and improvements you're going to make year after year. There's a lot more that goes into it with like an, you know, Aboriginal lease, but maybe I'll get into it later, I don't know, we'll see. But I'm sort of, you know, me doing the day-to-day maintenance and whatever out here, I've got an idea of what I want to do with these troughs to make them more of a reliable, permanent solution, and, you know, more maintenance friendly, better for the cattle, and just basically easy to work with, make them more reliable. So I'm going to start doing that soon. So I'll lift up this end, stick this little foot back under it. And what I did a while ago was, if you come over here and have a look, I chopped a little hole into the side of this trough just to be able to chuck a drag chain through it. So in the event that this happens, I can like drag it out easier. Because I used to just wrap a chain around the end, which does work. As you pull forward, the chain goes tight, but sometimes it slips off, and when you rock up and it's like that, last thing you want to do is go digging around in there, putting a chain around the trough, so it's easy just to do this. Slider on in there. Look at that, sweet, now we can lower it down. So we got that in there lined up, so I'll let the kangaroo jack down. Go on, jump in there. We'll go and go over here and turn this tap on, and then we'll get water coming out of there, and then we can give it a bit of a clean. Come. What are you doing? It's not ready yet. I'll just give all these components a clean. That's no good, that seems a bit loose. Well, we'll try it for now, see if we can run it. Like we're home, eh? That red barbed piece was a bit loose and that pipe's a bit flogged out, but we'll just try it. If it leaks, we'll have to chuck a new bit of poly in there. Yummy, lunchtime. Hopefully I'll just do it up and it'll be right, but it might be no good. Fuck's sake. Oh, beauty. There's always a bit of poly hanging around at most boards. So yeah, like I thought, I probably should have just changed it out, but anyway, that fitting at the top, the poly's too flogged out, so a bit of a leak, we'll have to chuck a new piece in. So we just need a few new bits and pieces. So we'll be able to use these two. Once they're in there, they're pretty stuck. You can get them out, but I don't know, I might use it somewhere down the line. So what do we got? If you forget to say put these on and you bang this on, you can't get them on. Don't ask me how I know that. So you always got to remember to make sure you chuck these on and then this. Lube her up a bit. If you put that in dry, this little O-ring thing can like peel off down here, and then you'll do it up thinking it's tight, and you'll end up with a possibilities of ending up with a leak. Give this a clean, so make sure get all the dirt and shit out in between these surfaces, and the thread, and then around this rubber piece, so obviously it seals up all good and everything. No leak. A little bit of water coming out of here, but that's just water shooting back from the outlet in there. What I'll do for now is just cover all this up with dirt. So a bit of dirt and that gets in under here, and then, you know, sort of holds it in place. But like I said earlier, I'm going to start working on these troughs a bit more. That's kind of the next stage. Keep these troughs, but try and secure them into the one place. Start to trench this pipe work as well, and yeah, make these watering points a little bit more reliable. Other thing I want to do before I nick off, and I kind of bug it up, I should have done this first. Now we got a big mess. But anyway, cut a hole in this a while back. Oh, I explained that, didn't I? So yeah, since cutting this hole in here to put the chain through, I want to weld it back up so then I can get the water level a bit higher in the trough. Kind of need a dolly on the other side because you have a look. If I hit that in, see how it's bending? More flat. All the welding and whatnot I've been doing at Altunga, I've got a little gasless MIG. It's bloody pretty awesome. So that sometimes comes with me, but I don't always lug it around everywhere. Obviously, you know, they're not really as hardy as a stick welder, if that makes sense. Like, so I usually in the trusty Morflate bag. That's what the compressor come in, but I don't use it obviously with the compressor mounted in there. But found another use for it. It's for this little BOC stick welder I got here. So this is perfect. Like look at the size of it. And I usually run around with 2.5 mil rods, which this is only a little 2.8, this Jenny, but it'll melt 2.5 mil rods. So it just means I can run around with a tiny Jenny like this and do little repairs like this on the go. This is like half the size of the gasless MIG I've got. And just more hardy. There's no wire, spool or any shit like that. Stick welder, humble old stick welder always does the job. Rightio, I'll get the little grinder out of here and get rid of some of that shit. I'll weld it from the inside a bit easier and easy to get to, but I'll just grind some of that shit off. That's not really the right disc, but it will do the job. Oh, should be laughing. One more, come on. Surely. see it from me. Wonder how many redbacks under here. Sometimes you open these up and there's friggin' 100 of them. I'll probably do it.
She's watching you.
And you won't be able to wreck it anymore. Love, what are you doing? Old love here is trying to eat this pipe. She's trying to clean up the job site for me, right? She's trying to give me a hand. Nothing like the sound of wind passing through desert oaks in the sandhill country. If you have a look down here, thought we may as well show you. That's where we just drove along. Pipeline runs there, and a fence usually runs along the creek, but it's flowed. I swear I've fixed this crossing about 1,006 times, but anyway, so I've got to get onto that soon. But this right here, you see all along the creek, even down there, and like even up this way, you can still see heaps of water. So even when this water somewhat disappears, water sits under the top of the, water sits under the surface of this creek for months on end. So what we used to do back in the day is bring a dozer in here and dig this out, like this spot, and then there's another spot up there, which right now looks drier, but if you chuck a dozer in there and dig it out, like get down a metre or so, there's heaps of water that comes to the surface. So you know, if we ever run into huge dramas with water problems in summer or whatever, we can actually dig this out and get water to the cattle. So it's pretty cool. Saw this old girl laying down and thought from a distance, sure if she was kicking or not, but clearly not. Bones hanging out, so don't know what happened there. Poor thing. But I wouldn't be swimming in that water anytime soon. Hey, look, we found a sandy torp. Whoa, look how it's bloody fucking, what the fuck? Look how she's running. Sandy torp cow. Little dingo over here. He was just sort of foraging around in that bush there. I don't know what he's got. He's got something in there he's curious about. What do you got in that little bush, mate? Hey? Hello. These little dingoes are half quiet, eh? It's your lucky day, my friend. Just trying to get to something in here. Don't really know what. I'm assuming there's a little lizard or something in there.